Little black book. You know what time it is. 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 Hey guys, welcome to Little Blackbird 91. It's crazy. Jonathan Majors has been, well, I guess convicted, or we should say rather, he has been found guilty of harassment and of assault of third degree and second degree. And he's been nailed to the cross. I want to ask this question. Is this an agenda, or is this just the past catching up with Jonathan Majors? Is this an agenda? Is this a situation where a black man has been wrongfully convicted because there's a snow bunny involved and she pulled a Karen on him? Or is this a situation where Jonathan Majors actually is guilty, deserves what he's getting? He's now been dropped from Disney, which, I mean, we all knew from Marvel, we knew was going to happen. Is it an agenda, or is this really that Jonathan Majors is guilty? I want to quickly give my particular verdict. Do I need to have a yes and a no to the answer? No, I can have two truths. I believe we can have two truths. I believe we can have two truths. There is enough evidence to present that this is two truths. I think a poignant case to say this is slightly an agenda is that Ezra Miller hasn't been dropped by Disney. We didn't get much press on it. He abused his girlfriend at the time, and I think a random woman too as well. He got into an altercation with physically as well, and it didn't go nowhere. So I can say maybe there is a bit of an agenda on the brother. At the alternative, aside the car situation, from what I read, it seems like there has been a whole situation of a 2-year relationship that's been tumultuous, that has been toxic, that has been up and down, has had its fair share of abuse, whether it being too close to physicality or being heavily emotionally close to being abusive, right? And I think there's problems on both sides. Now, my thing with this is he didn't get convicted of first degree. He got convicted of third degree on, I think it was assault, and second degree on harassment. And the third degree means basically that the jury didn't believe that it was intentional, that he brought harm to Gabri, right? So for instance, let's say you throw a can of soda outside your window, it bounces and hits a car and causes damage to the car. You weren't trying to throw the can out the window to hit the car to cause damage. So it's completely different to him being, it's completely different to him being convicted for, I guess, obviously first degree, if you want to call it that, right? Assault. In this instance, it wasn't GBH, it wasn't any of those particular things. It was simply the jury just didn't believe that he intentionally was trying to hurt her. But in the process of quote unquote, i.e., I think it was basically the car situation, him throwing her back in, or them having an altercation in the car where I think he hit her, is pretty much the issue. Now, I'll probably read as well a bit of the different articles as well to try and get a bit more understanding. So on 2 counts, he was made to found guilty. I want to say this though. Is there also a case for Dr. Umar, what he would say, right? Is what Dr. Umar said also a point in case? Dealing with snow bunnies gets you snowed in. Dealing with snow bunnies gets you snowed in. Does he have a point, Dr. Umar? Now, this is quite funny because I have friends and I have family that are married to white folk. Okay, so I'm probably going to be a little bit more biased, but I would say you need to be very careful what kind of woman you go for, right? Because we have seen the Karen effect by the snow bunnies. Okay, we saw it in 2020 BLM, and we're still seeing it now. Okay, all right. The biggest threat, it seems like, to the black man when it comes to romance and relationship is a snow bunny. Okay, yeah, they will turn on you very, very quickly and have a history of doing so. Not a good one, right? But that's too easy. That's putting all the blame on a white woman and claiming that they're all devils. And I don't believe that. right? I don't believe that all white women are devils and they're trying to get you, etc., right? But some of them do have they can switch it like that if they need to, right? That being said, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Jonathan Majors has suddenly switched to going to Megan Good, a black woman. That's why I'm making it more paramount. Had it been he went with another white woman, I'd have been like, well, he didn't learn his lesson. He was still with the Snow Queens, right? But you went from Snow Bunny to Chocolate Raindrop. So from that, I'm looking at it going, well, maybe you suddenly discovered and knew something wasn't quite right here, or you're trying to get the black vote. We have to keep it real and just be honest about all the different angles that are at play here, right? You went from Snow Queen, okay, to Chocolate Raindrop, yeah? And all of a sudden we're parading Megan around. It's giving PR. Okay, it's given. Megan is friends with Jonathan Majors from beforehand. You know, the PR team or whatever, the lawyer and the you know, the defense team was like, you know what, brother, sis, do us a solid here. Stick with him. Stick beside him. We need the good optics in the press to help sway people. You know, we want the black vote. We want black women to get behind. It was given that. Can't lie to you. Okay, can't lie to you. It was giving sway the black vote. I just want to be honest with you, right? Because it was such a switch, I just didn't see it coming. Okay, all right, just saying. It was just such a switch that I didn't see it coming. Now, it might have been always been happening, but you know, it just felt like a little bit of a switch. And then obviously, you know, during the course of this also, we have had obviously the release of footage and texts surrounding the issue with Jonathan Majors. We've had the texts that were kind of showing him being abusive and saying, threatening to kill himself and stuff like that. In that case, I have to be honest, the question is whether they can prove a pattern of behavior and it being a consistent pattern of him using, for instance, suicide, killing himself, whether hitting her, Can they prove this pattern of behavior being one that's one of assault or harassment, right? And that's the key question, right? Now that was questionable text that we're going through. The Corella stuff, that wasn't a problem, but that was questionable. Then we had the old incident of the actual car footage, the CCTV. Brother was running. I mean, Forrest boy run like he was running on blocks. Okay, all right, running on blocks. That brother was on heat, and he was running the blocks, right? So, interestingly enough, we're going to read the article on what they actually, a little bit on sharing about what actually happened in terms of what he's charged with, just to get a bit of a better understanding. Because I still feel like this case is there was so much information, but so little information when it came to the situation. It felt like there was nothing really clear cut. It was a bit all over the place. So, you know, I felt like this case was put in the press, but we didn't really get what we need to get from the situation. So, yeah, I felt there could have been some more information about it. You know, that was more clearer. I feel like things were just in the air as well. Okay. In that particular aspect. So I felt like we had information, but we never really had information. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Like, even to this point, and now I'm like, you know, even when we're talking about reporting, it's not necessarily reporting about the charges and what that actually means. What does it actually mean? Why is it that he got charged with 3rd degree and not 1st degree? Like, what does that really mean? Do you know what I'm saying to you? But we're going to read the article. Now, I'll put a little link in the chat, so if you do want to have your say as well, I will open up the lines for you as well, because maybe you have a different point of view. Maybe you have an indication of what you feel about the Jonathan Majors situation. You know, how you see it. You may, you know, see it differently, you know, or you may have a good point of view that we'd love to hear as well. If you're a lawyer too, and you maybe can explain some of the stuff that went down, we'd love to hear that and understand it too. Okay, all right, cool. Let's just get into this as well. I don't want to waste much time on this, but let's pop this in as well. All right, cool. So we're going to read this. So the Creed 3 star was found guilty of 1 count of assault and 1 count of harassment, but acquitted in 2 other counts. The verdict is in on Jonathan Majors' weeks-long domestic violence trial. The Marvel star was found guilty of 1 count of assault and 1 count of harassment, but acquitted of 2 others counts in a split verdict Monday. Majors was found not guilty on 1 account of intentional assault in the 3rd degree and aggravated harassment in the 2nd degree. The verdict came after about 5 hours of deliberations over portions of 3 days. Jurors began deliberating on Thursday afternoon and had not reached a verdict by the end of Friday. Judge Michael Gaffey said Major's sentencing will be announced on February 6th. The 34-year-old actor faced up to a year in jail. 3rd-degree assault is a Class A misdemeanor that carries with it a maximum sentence of 1 year in jail, while 2nd-degree harassment is a violation punishable by up to 15 days in jail. Majors was ordered to stay away from his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari. The Creed 3 star faced a jury and at one point looked down as the verdicts were being read. An eyewitness tells ET his girlfriend Megan Good appeared upset. In a statement, ET Manhattan District Attorney Albert Bragg said at the Manhattan DA's office, "We are committed to centering survivors in all of our work. The evidence presented throughout this trial illustrated a cycle of psychological and emotional abuse and escalating patterns of coercion far too common across the many intimate partner violence cases we see each and every day. Today, a jury determined that the pattern of abuse and coercion culminated with Mr. Majors assaulting and harassing his girlfriend. We thank the jury for its service and the survivor for bravely telling her story despite having to relive her trauma on the stand." After numerous delays, the first trial began November 29th when Majors and 42-year-old Good walked into court hand in hand. Majors also walked in holding a Bible. That's what I don't like. Okay? That's what I didn't like. My brother suddenly started carrying the Bible. I never heard you talk about Jesus. Okay? Right? I never heard about Jesus. So suddenly we're doing all of this, carrying the Bible. I was like, Okay. The trial stemmed from March 25th arrest in which authorities claim Majors struck, shoved, kicked, and otherwise subjected another person to physical contact, thereby causing physical injury to such person and to family and household members of such person during an argument in the backseat of a car. Jabari also claimed he struck her in the face with an open hand. You're going to learn today you can't strike a white woman with an open hand. They can steal your scooter and you can get in trouble. A policeman can arrest you, have a heart attack, and you can get charged. We're in a different world. When Jabari took the witness stand, she testified to numerous instances in which Majors allegedly became aggressive and ultimately violent. In one instance, Jabari recalled allegedly taking a blow to the head during a heated argument. The alleged argument stemmed from Majors allegedly texting another woman, leading Jabari to grab his phone in an attempt to retrieve his phone. Jabari claimed Majors became physically violent. Then I felt a heavy thud on top of me. It was the weight of his body. She claimed on the stand he was trying to pry the phone out of my hands. When that wasn't successful, he took my arm behind my back. I felt excruciating pain. I felt a blow to the right side of my head. I just felt a hard impact to the back of my head. I felt a lot of pain, so I sat back, and that's when I got the phone out of my hand. I wasn't focused on the pain, though. I was trying to figure out who the woman was. But the most damning day in the court came when Manhattan District Attorney's Office released a court disturbing text messages and audio recordings detailing what prosecutors alleged showed Majors' erratic, violent behavior. In one of those messages, Majors told Jabari she needed to act more like Coretta King Scott and Michelle Obama, which I don't think that was even that great. I don't really care about that. I don't think that's anything crazy. It's just fake, I fear you have no perspective of what could happen if you go to the hospital. They will ask you questions, and as I don't think you're actually protect us, it could lead to an investigation, even if you do lie and they suspect something. I will tell the doctor I bumped my head. If I go, I'm going to give it one more day, but I can't sleep. I need some stronger painkillers. That's all. Why would I want to tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you? I'll be honest with you, it don't look good. Yeah, that don't look good. I don't care what no one says. That part of the text don't look good at all. Let's be freaking honest. Okay, all right. That don't look good. Just gonna be honest with you, right? I've never had to say to my girlfriend, "Don't go to the hospital," because if you go to the hospital, they're gonna ask questions. That, for me, sends a very clear signal. As much as I want to defend Jonathan Majors and I want to be able to say, "Brother, I think you could be innocent here," that don't look good. Because I've never said to any of my girlfriends, don't go to the hospital, or if you're sick, don't go to the sick, they might, because that tells me that something else is afoot. Just saying. Do you really love me? Do you really? Then how dare you come home drunk and disturb the peace of our house when we have a plan? Major said in the clip, I would like to get to a point where your friends know what job I'm on and I go. I think Grace is going to be out of commission. Get me? The actor continued. Yeah, I won't, Jabari responded. No, you don't understand. Because that team, that unit, right? Grace has to be a certain mindset to support. Coretta Scott King, do you know what that is? Martin Luther King's wife, Michelle Obama, Barack Obama. Major said, can I be honest with you? That Coretta Scott stuff didn't feel abusive to me. I'll be honest with you. Okay, that Coretta stuff doesn't him saying you to get on point and get on style. I don't like the way he said it, but it's listen. I personally didn't think there was anything deep in it. He's basically saying get on brand, okay? Because you're messing up. Get on brand because you're messing up the team. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything against that or anything that should be against that in that perspective. I will not go to a doctor if you don't feel safe with me doing so or don't trust me to. I promise I would never mention you, but I understand your fear. One text message purportedly sent by Majors in September 22 showed he threatened to kill himself as Jabari contemplated going to a hospital after allegedly sustaining a head injury during a prior altercation. According to text messages allegedly sent by Majors, prosecutors claimed he did not want her to seek medical attention or medical help and attempted to dissuade her via text. I fear you have no perspective of what could happen if you go to a hospital, Majors wrote. They will ask you questions, and as I don't think you actually protect us, etc., right? We've read that already. In response, she said she'll tell the doctor I bump my head. If I go, I'll give it one more day. We know that already. Okay, next text. You can reject love if there's no real you can't reject love if there's no real love. It's just lip service. I gave you love last night, and this morning before I got out of bed, when you got up, you were not full of love at all. I didn't feel it at all. You could have just given me a hug or walked close to me or asked me if you could give me a hug. Not the other way around. It works both ways. I'll probably mill myself. It's not really contemplating anymore. I'm a monster, a horrible man, not capable of love. I'm killing myself soon. I've already put things into motion. Now, I need a bit of context for the killing myself situation, right? Can't lie to you. I need a bit of context for that. Because let me tell you this now. Does that mean he was abusive to her? I mean, it can be. People can use it as very much abusive way of doing it. Like people can threaten to kill themselves just to get you to do what you want them to do. I need to know context of when that was said for and why it was said. I don't like the fact he said it. And it's showing me that you have a depressive mind state, but I need to know why he said it. You know what I'm saying? Like the context of why he said it. Because the difference between the difference in the context is important because I can either qualify it as you being manipulative and you trying to be abusive, or I can qualify it as being you are in a depressed state. You know what I mean? You are in a depressed state because he hasn't stated anything. Do you get what I'm saying to you? It could be emotional abuse, but he hasn't stated anything. Right? He's feeling sorry for himself. He's feeling depressed for himself. That doesn't necessarily mean that's abusive. I need to know context of that. There needs to be context given to that. You know what I mean? There needs to be context given for that. I can't just assume that. Whilst I understand where it could go, because there's no context given in terms of the conversation between him and her, unless he's saying to her that I'm going to kill myself if you don't do this, or if you leave me, I'm going to kill myself, then that would be the premise of giving us a context as to why he said it. Him saying I'm going to kill myself, I don't feel that you can make that into a manipulated situation until we get a context. You know what I'm saying to you? So if they give us a context, then I would understand. But if that's a different conversation, I need to know. But let's see. Maybe they'll give us a context. I feel like you want to be together, as in not to embarrass yourself for everything you said to your friends and family. Last night, I considered killing myself versus coming home. You said you needed love last night, and I put my feelings aside, and I tried to give you that. I need love too, or maybe I'm such a monster and horrible man that I don't deserve it, and you should just kill myself. This way of existence is miserable. I want to die. Okay, so that's not it's not, again, this situation, again, I can see how potentially it could be going towards there. Manipulation, I think it could be. I'm not going to say definitely it is, again, because the context of it, again, wasn't very clear. He's talking about the fact that, I want us to be together, Last night, I considered killing myself. Again, we need to know, is he trying to get her to be on site? What's he trying to get her to do? Right? Is he trying to get her to submit? Is he trying to get her to follow his lead? Is he trying to get her to what's he trying to get her to do? Before we get to that point of saying it is, or whether he's having a mental health issue. Um, you know, um, so that we understand that as well, so just before I jump down that lane of, yeah, he's trying to abuse her with that situation. Do you know what I'm saying to you? But I also understand that the jury will look at it as several different instances, but I need to know what that tie-in is. I need to know what that tie-in is, because people have mental health issues, right? People have mental health issues and threaten suicide. Um, so I need to know the context of that conversation. I'm not aware that it can be abusive or manipulative. I'm saying I need to know context of how it's being said and in what aspect, so that I don't jump down that rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? Along with the text messages shared by Manhattan DA's office, prosecutors also shared photos of injuries Jabari sustained allegedly at the hands of her ex. In one picture, the choreographer appears with a cut behind the ear. Another picture shows a severely bruised finger. The jury was shown an x-ray on Monday of Jabari's finger, which had a hairline fracture. During closing arguments, Major's attorney, Priya Chaudhry, gave an impassioned closing statement that lasted just over an hour, which she concluded while choking back tears by imploring the jury to end this nightmare for Jonathan Majors. That's her lashed ear that she had on. Chaudhry also revisited the video evidence released by Manhattan DA's office, which showed surveillance footage of Majors and Jabari in some sort of scuffle on the street on the day of alleged incident that led to his arrest in March. Prosecutors have said the footage showed Majors repeatedly pushing Jabari back into the vehicle with all his force. The video footage later showed them exiting the vehicle after a brief moment on the sidewalk. Majors is seen sprinting away from Jabari, who chased after him. We all just saw it with our own eyes, Chaudhry said in closing arguments. He puts her back in the car because they're in the middle of a moving traffic. He helps her out of the car. He walks her safely to the sidewalk and then starts grabbing him again. Chaudhry stomps her foot at this time. She chases him even in front of moving cars. I can't lie to you, that was mad. That part was hella mad. Can't lie to you. Hella mad. Hella mad. Chaudhry added, you don't get to destroy people's lives with your fantasies. She's a very emotional person. I want to end this nightmare quickly and immediately for Jonathan. Everything she says is belied by the videos. Everything she says is belied by the witnesses. Okay. One of the witnesses was the driver of the car when the alleged altercation went down in March. According to Verity, Naveed Sawar testified that Majors opened the car door, trying to get rid of Jabari. Sawar testified that Majors said, "Leave me alone. I want to go. I have to go," and he was not doing anything. Jabari was doing everything. Major's legal team tried numerous times to get the judge to dismiss the case, but a judge ruled this week that there was sufficient competent evidence showing Majors and Jabari were involved in an altercation where she indicated suffering substantial pain. So I guess that's why the case came down to being third-degree assault and second-degree harassment, because in reality, all that could be presented was that he wasn't trying to hurt her. Now, there's a pattern of some behaviors, but he wasn't trying to intentionally hurt her. So I think this personally, I'll be honest with you, I think this is a lesson for Jonathan Majors. I think this was a toxic relationship, and I think this is an indication that Jonathan Majors needs help. Because you're the star. Right? So I'm going to say this again, because I know some guys are not going to agree. I think this is a light get-off. It's a slap on the wrist. It's not the nicest. It's a slap on the wrist that he needed and get himself in order, get himself checked. Okay? Right? Get yourself checked. Okay? Because this is not the first time y'all are having a toxic situation. It's not the first time you had an altercation. It's in the car. There have been several altercations before this. This is not your first rodeo with this woman. There have been several before this, which means I need you to get it together. Now, I know he's facing a year in jail. I don't think he'll go to jail for a year. I don't think he will. Now, someone might ask, is this an agenda? I know that a good sister said something like, did he not participate in the alphabet agenda? Maybe, who knows, right? What I do know is that what I do know in this situation is that Jonathan Majors there had been a history with this woman. Yeah? There's a history with this woman. Okay? And in the situation, there could have been an agenda. Like, let's be honest, there could be an agenda that maybe you didn't accept the Illuminati offer. Who knows? Maybe you didn't maybe you didn't accept the a particular director's take some clothes off for me. Maybe you didn't. Okay? Maybe you didn't get down on your knees and do some stuff. Okay? Maybe you didn't. All right? But what I would say is this. This situation with this young lady has enough bite and enough of issues to say, get yourself in check. That don't give don't give them any foothold to get you nailed to the cross. There's a reason I ain't never heard nothing about Denzel Washington, bro. There's a reason. And it's not because Denzel Washington, and maybe listen, hey, who knows what deals Denzel Washington's done. But there's a reason why I haven't heard anything from Denzel Washington. There's a reason why I have heard things about other actors, black and white, about what they done. Because they done something. You see what I'm saying to you? So I'm saying that Jonathan Majors, okay, all right, you need to get your ass in check. Okay? You need to get your ass in check, clock into therapy, and complete therapy, and come back. The next year or so, spend that time in therapy, bro. Don't waste your time trying to fight. Listen, you are gonna get away with this, man. I'm telling you, listen. You at max, you're gonna get some community service, go and do this, go and that. You ain't gonna be that deep. Now, if you do get some jail time, you're gonna come out and you're gonna be back on films again. Yeah, you're gonna be on some black films or whatever, right? The reality of the situation was his trajectory. Okay, all right, his trajectory was about to be huge. Like, I'm talking, he had one of the biggest trajectories his potential was about to be absolutely large because he played Kang so well. Okay? He played Kang so well. Right? And so he was about to really take over the global planet. He was about to be a global star. Right? Now, I've heard some things. Before you enter the $30 million club, there's some things you gotta do. Okay? Before you enter the $30 million club, there's some things you gotta do. So that's a big thing. So I think for him, you know what? You gonna have to recalibrate, big man. Yeah, you've done some wrongs here. You've behaved inappropriately. You've been toxic. Pretty much potentially been abusive too. I think you just need to settle yourself down in some therapy. Get yourself a counselor. Rehash your image because clearly you're dedicated to the image thing with Megan Good. So here's how I would do it. Right now, here's how I do it. I'll get my ass into therapy for 12 months. Okay. Right? I would document my progress, for the next 12 months. I'll start a little YouTube. Every month, I'll give an update of what's happening and what's been spoken about with my therapist, right? Act all transparent. Okay? All right? And then I'm keep working the angle because clearly you're dedicated to this angle. That's the reason why I'm saying it. You're clearly dedicated to the angle of being black, right? This is where you get Megan Good on board properly. You want to play this game. If you're going to play this game with a certain demographic, you got to play it properly. And I'm just going to be honest with you, okay? The next thing is, if you're going to be Megan Good, we need to know what's going on with you and Megan Good. Yeah? Give us some monthly updates. Yeah? Put on a 12-month contract. Put on a 12-month contract. Yeah, where we get to see you and her coffee dates, these promo photos and stuff like that that y'all normally do. You know what I'm saying to you? You're gonna have to work that black angle. Okay? Work that black angle. Because black equals money. I'm just gonna be honest with you. The white folk know that we as black people spend one of the most money when it comes to consumerism. Okay? All right? That needs to be, you need to put that out there. Okay? And then when you come back in the year, okay, choose a good film to come back with, preferably maybe a black kind of film, maybe a little bit, just to start yourself off, okay? And kill it. That's it. Okay? That's it. You know what I'm saying to you? That's really it. But I really need him to get help. Because there's honestly, talking about killing yourself, that's not normal. Whether you're trying to be manipulative or generally are actually having issues, to say killing yourself, honestly, that is mental health 101. You need help. Okay? You need help. And that's jokes aside about what plan to come back with in the next few years or whatever. You need help because mentally you are sick. For you to say you want to actually commit suicide, you are in a desperate place. If I'm going to take you seriously as to what you said was being true, you need help. Either way, because either you're being abusive with it and manipulative, or you genuinely are feeling on the edge. Either way, you need help. Either one, you need help. So I would be in therapy ASAP, Rocky, straight away. For, you know what I mean? That's your most important thing right now. If I'm Megan Good, let me address Megan Good. If I'm Megan Good, I would be really starting to pay attention to what's happening around me. I've supported him. Yes, you've supported him. You've supported him going forward in terms of this trial. I would now open your eyes. Number one, be observing. Number two, I'd make sure that family are involved in the situation every freaking step of the way. Right? I'll say it again. If I'm Megan Good, I'd make sure family is close by so that every step of the way. Okay? All right? Because if anything was to happen again with him and you, sis, you might not have the same luck as Karen. You might not have the grace like Jabari. Right? So I'm gonna need you, okay? I'm gonna need you to focus. I'm gonna need you to put some things in place. Make sure your family know where you are. They can access you. Do not start cutting people off. This is not the time to start cutting people off. This is not the time to start isolating yourself. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna need Megan. I'm gonna need Megan to get together. Okay? I'm gonna need you to get it together. I'm gonna need you to get it together. I'm gonna need you to get it together. Okay? All right? Make sure people know where you are, what you're about. Make sure your family are close by, brothers, uncles. Make sure they know where you are in a relationship with him at the moment. If something does happen, do report it. This is not the time to cover it up. You will end up dead. And I don't want you to be in that situation. Okay? That's a big thing. Um, you know. So yeah. But yeah, no, that's my kind of thoughts to it, man. I don't want to add anything else. So if you guys have any other thoughts, the link is there if you wanna add your thoughts quickly. But the link is in the chat if you wanna have your say. By all means, click on it. Otherwise, I will jump off. So I'll give myself a minute or two. If nobody jumps on, I'm gonna jump off. But yeah, and Grace too. She needs help too. Goodness gracious, she needs help. Being in this situation, you are running across the street in front of moving traffic. Sis, you need help. Okay? You need help. You need help. And apparently, it wasn't even Grace who brought the charges against him, it was a state. So, yeah, that's the biggest issue there. I think it was the state that brought the charges against him necessarily as well, not necessarily her herself. So to be honest, like I said, it could be an agenda because the whole state came against you to try and convict you. They didn't need to get involved in this situation. There was no need for the state to want to persecute you, apart from the fact that you know you didn't do what you're supposed to do, and you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So if you're carrying that Bible, here's my final point. If you're carrying that Bible, okay, if you're carrying that Bible, I'm gonna need you to find Jesus in the scriptures. Because Jesus said the whole of scriptures are all about me. Jonathan Majors, if you got, I heard you got family in the ministry, it's time to give. It's time to give it over. Okay, yeah. Mm. In the U.S., the state always starts a case. Okay, fair enough then. It's normal for the state to file charges. It's not normal that she was also charged. That's fair too. Yeah, he called the police. That's how the state got involved. Mm. Well, that's a lesson he gonna learn. Okay, that's a lesson he gonna learn. Okay, all right. Disney don't play those games, so I know Disney don't like that kind of game. They like their people to be squeaky clean. You know. Yeah, look, I didn't get this. Why they only had six people? I was so confused. Why they had six people? I was so confused at that. But yeah. Whew, baby. Listen, we are off. We're gonna bounce. But people, listen, be easy. We'll see you guys very soon. Much love and appreciation. It was a quick one. And yeah, man. Leave a comment down below as well. Appreciate y'all.